Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with the Fellowship Inspirational Podcast.
Welcome. Hope y'all were able to tune into our first video last month about love. And as y'all tune in here, we are getting closer and closer to Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So last week we talked about what is love.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we're going to talk about give it your all.
Give it your all. Give it
all you got.
Yep. Y'all ever had a coach and your coach is like, come on, man, like, give it all you got. Like, put your all into it.
Yeah.
Maybe you ran track and it's that last 50 meters. And they're like, come on, give it your all. You're almost there. Or you play basketball and you're running, from line to line. You're on the 5th one, the 10th one, the 12th one. And your coach is like, come on, push. It's fourth quarter. Give it your all. Push. All those different things. Like, that's something you often hear from a coach. Give it your all. Push, all those different things that have to do with effort, have to do with strength, all those things. But what we want to talk to y'all about is in 1 Corinthians 16:14.
So before we get to that, let's talk about how he's saying that because in the life of an athlete, you are often being told, give it your all.
Yeah.
And it has to do with like giving it all the strength that you have. Like, it talks about you giving it all the effort. Like, put all the effort you got into that thing. Endurance, stamina.
Mental.
Right. But really, as a Christian, when we say give it your all, we're saying give it your all, and it has to do with love. So in 1 Corinthians 16:14, it says, and whatsoever you do it with kindness and love.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning let everything that you do be done in love. And we mentioned this scripture in the last video, but really we wanted to emphasize it one more time because of how heavy it is.
Yeah, because a lot of times when we do things, we do it out of obligation. We do it out of chore. We do it out of, let me just go ahead and get this over with. For example, like some of the things we do, like at work. Okay, I'm doing this really to just get paid. I don't get paid to do anything extra.
Right.
I don't get paid to
so don't ask me to do that because I'm not getting paid.
Walk in love. When really, like, even though that's your work, there's something that we have an obligation to do by God.
Right.
Because we are now born again.
Yeah.
God put something in us called love. And really, because love is in us, because God is love, like we said in our last video, we now have a way about doing things.
Yeah, because even I remember when I shared my testimony when I ranked up and even how I got orders to remain in that place. So I was even asking God, I was like, wow, God, there's some other departments that I can work in and maybe learn something new or, kind of be in a new, like basically group of people. But then there was like these two people that just approached me. They were like, you know what? I'm so glad you're staying here because I really do need you here. And I was like, oh, so it helped me to shift because really, like he said, even at your job, when you do your job with love, you realize that you're not doing it in purpose.
Right.
You now realize, God, I'm not only here, you're not placing me back here for no reason. You're placing me here because there's still purpose and there's still things that need to be done.
Right. And just like you said with your friends or the coworkers that you have, there's still a need there. And just as
it's like unfinished business.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, like, we can look and see when we do stuff and there ain't no love behind it.
Right.
You can see, just as you can see when love is present, you can see when love isn't present too.
Yeah.
And that's why, like we talked about last week with 1 Corinthians, and it talked about all these things that love is.
Yeah.
If you want to see what love isn't, it talks about envy. It talks about jealousy. It talks about holding grudges. It talks about holding these things against people and stuff. So in, let's say, food, if somebody, hey, can I get some food? They're like, man, I always give you something. Like, why are you always coming to me for food? Or I ain't making enough for the both of us, like stuff like that. And then you'd be like, man, here, like, that's not done in love. Similar to what we talked about last time between how you can't get something to God without there being love. You can't get something to your spouse or significant other without love. you can't do something like give or bless or, here's some food without there being love, because people see that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why we're emphasizing give it your all. Because even in we talked about First Corinthians 13 last time, but even in that scripture, it talks about how you can literally speak to a mountain and make it move. But if you do it with no love,
Right.
it means nothing. It comes to naught.
Right.
If you preach the gospel, get burnt up, but do it with no love, it don't mean nothing. I was like, what? Hold on, come again. What? But really, that's like the truth, even in our own personal lives, which is why we need to give it our all, period, as a Christian with love. We need to really emphasize that and live it out.
Yeah, because oftentimes we'd be like, no, but I went to work, or you remember I gave you that gift, or I gave you that compliment, but you also remember, yeah, but remember you did this, or remember you were holding this, or remember that smart comment, and all those things. So really, as that thing was given, because love was shut out, they were shut out. They weren't able to really receive what it is that was given, and that plays more of an impact, because when love isn't present, like she said, with faith moving mountains and stuff like that, it really comes to naught.
Right. And really, like, the goal is, even as the Christian, is to live out the will of God for your life, to live in purpose. But really, to walk in love is to walk in purpose.
Right.
Because you're no longer being aimless. You're no longer just doing things just to do it, to get it out the way. No, you're actually thinking about, okay, God, this is greater than me. This person that you have placed on my path at my job, let's say, right? For example, like, I'm not solemnly here to type up some documents and then get my butt out of here. No, there's a soul here that needs you. And you're using me as a vessel to help this person. So now, if you look back at that love scripture, you're not being selfish. You're not being rude. You're not just thinking about yourself. No, you're doing the opposite. And now in purpose, you're thinking about, oh, wow, like, okay, there's a greater purpose for me here.
Yeah.
I can be intentional. I can really, and it comes with the root really is love.
1 Corinthians 14:1 says, let love be your greatest aim. Again, it says, let love be your greatest aim. We talked about athletes. We talked about coaches. Typically, the objective or the highest aim of an athlete is first place. Yeah. That's really like the goal.
Right.
But the word says that God is love. And we talked about how if you're going to do something, you should do it with love. That really should be our highest aim. As we walk, as we talk, as we go about doing service, really love should be our highest aim. We go to work for money, or, we do have different things or different objectives we're trying to reach. But really, if we let love be our highest aim, that's how we please God. Like, we think about what we're doing amongst man, or really what we're doing for ourselves, how we can get. But if we're doing something with love and that be our highest aim, it makes us think about highest aim. It makes you think about God. If I do everything with love, if I do everything as if I'm doing it unto God, which is a verse as well, that means my highest aim is doing something for God.
Right.
I'm doing something to reach Him, to please Him.
Right. And so that's why we started with what is love.
Right.
So now that you know what love is, now you can apply it. Now you can let love be your aim. And when you let love be your aim, now you walk in purpose. And as you walk in purpose, now you can please God.
Yeah.
So there's really like a whole really like pattern to it, so that you can now carry these things out. Because like Jay said, the solemn purpose is to please God. It is not to glorify ourselves, to glorify or satisfy this flesh. No, it's really so that He be pleased.
Right.
So and if He's pleased, then we be okay.
Yeah, because what Jesus did on that cross, it said, in the midst of us being sinners, in the midst of us being His enemy,
right,
He was on the cross. Present time, us being His enemy. So could you imagine that? We were His enemy, yet He died on the cross for us. Why? Because love was His highest aim.
Yeah.
Pleasing God, pleasing the Father.
Right.
It said, do everything as if you're doing it unto God. So really, if we have that same mindset, if we have that same perspective, as we see people, as we see jobs, as we're driving to work, as we go shopping with the perspective of Jesus Christ, we're not just looking at people anymore. That's why
Right.
Jesus said the disciples looked at Jesus and was like, "You say that when we were given to the poor, we were doing it unto you. When was I doing something to the poor? And
Like,
it
how
was
does that
you.
make
Like, right?
sense? Yeah.
How? But when we shift our perspective to see what Jesus sees and now do things out of love, it shifts what we do and now puts it back in purpose, which is love.
Right. That's why really we want to change your perspective.
Hmm.
Like, if you take some time and close your eyes, and even in that scripture where it says, do everything as you are doing it unto God. So now every single interaction you're thinking, Lord, this is unto you.
Right.
Okay. So then you think about, and sometimes that you have to think about him maybe on that cross that day where he was being tortured. I mean, a different torture, right? A unbearable torture, indescribable torture, right? And if you just start to think, wow, okay, this other individual was also created by you, Lord. And so it'll help you to just act different, talk different, move different, live different. So we just really want to change your perspective so that now you can apply real love. Again, we talked about how love be used loosely all the time. Hey, love you, bruh, or take care, or things like that. But do you really know what love is? It's such a deep, heavy word. So that's why we really want to help you guys to put it into perspective so you can apply it in every single thing that you do, and so that you can make the right steps and that everything can click and connect. Like, this may be that missing part that you're like, why is it certain things working? But really, this may be the thing that you just need to maybe change in this year.
Right. So really, as you think, the coach is telling me, give it your all, give it your all, give it your all. What is Jesus saying? Jesus is saying, let love be your highest aim.
Yeah.
Jesus is saying, do everything with love. Because when we do that, we can look at, okay, what does my speech look like? Can people hear love when I talk?
Right.
Do people hear a message of love?
Yeah.
What about my relationships? What about relationships with brothers, sisters, co-workers, friends, spouses? Are they able to see this love that Jesus Christ talks about? Do they see the kindness? Do they see the patience? Do they see the forgiveness? What about, am I giving? Am I giving to be seen? Am I giving because it looks good? Am I giving because on social media it gets me the most likes? Or am I giving in secret so that the Lord can, give me that reward that way, opposed to my reward being seen by man? Like, it's really important that we look at these different areas in our life, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
Putting love in all these different areas of our life.
Yeah. So, really, we encourage you guys to take some time, like Jay said, look at every single area of your life and just add love in there. But real love. We're talking about that 1 Corinthians 13 love. And at that point, your whole life has to change.
Right.
It'll affect your whole life all around. So that's really what we encourage you guys to do. Give it your all. Give God your all. And the greatest way you can do that is with love.
And lastly, we talked about looking at the life of Jesus in our last episode. A lot of times we look at Jesus and talk about, Jesus was perfect though, or how can I really do this because Jesus was perfect?
Right.
But a great example of how you can implement your life the way Jesus lived was Jesus did things in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus really was perfect, but he did everything in love. So if we look at that and we say, okay, I might not be able to reach perfection, which is truthful. We all fall short. We all slip up, but thank God for his blood. Thank God for the confession of sins, forgiveness, all those things. But if I can implement love in my life the way Jesus did, then okay, that is a way that shows me I'm walking the right way.
Right. Yeah, that's the key right there. That's the key point right there. That okay, let me just incorporate love, and I know I'm going in the right way. I know I'm following his footsteps, because that's one thing we know for sure. I mean, for what Jesus did, love must be there.
Right.
So yeah, that's really our word of encouragement for each one of you guys today, and we just hope that you guys will receive this, that you guys will act on it, And again, if you have to come back and listen and tune in or even read it yourself, I encourage you guys to do that. And, just be back for our next video next week.
So happy Valentine's Day to you all, and have a great weekend.
All right. Bye.